Get your good side.
There. Okay, so unfortunately we did the first example already, but you can sort of pause it here. Or what if I just redo it really fast?
Yeah, you can.
Because it's not going to be a very long time.
So y1 equals y2.
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing quadratic systems. There's what three things that can happen, right? You can have your quadratic and your other one, and they don't overlap, and you get zero solutions. Or you can. What was the other one that we did?
Where they intersect.
Where like you get one solution like this.
Yeah.
Right. So one solution, and then you could have a situation like this. Okay, and that's two solutions. Okay. And then it's like, okay, here's our first example. They're both solved for y, so you can just take, say, this one here and substitute it in there. So here it is. Yeah? This is the first time you guys saw this, right? Then we know we need to factor because we got the x squared term and the x term. So we'll go like this. I'm going to add 2 to both sides, so negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, it's equal to 0. And then you can factor like that. And what were my two numbers? Multiply to that, add to 1. So it was like this. And then we're going to go ahead, use our zero product property. I'm not going too fast, right?
No.
No, the room is totally empty and nobody's here. So there's our x values, and then we can go back to whichever equation you like. This one looks easier. So we're going to do this one. Plug in our negative 2, and we get positive 2, subtract 2, so we get 0. Okay, we should really write it as a coordinate. So there's one answer. This one, when you substitute it in, you get negative 1, subtract 2, so you get negative 3. There we go. So it's 1 comma negative 3. Excellent. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. If we can just hammer these all out. What have we got going on here? Notice that both equations are quadratic. Well, that was like the last one.
Yeah, it's the exact same one.
Well, if you didn't notice it last time, you're going to notice it this time. How about that? Okay, let's see. I should give you the mouse and then you can like do it for me, eh? You want to be my mouse man?
Sure.
Perfect. So we're good for now. Uh-oh, didn't think this up. Okay. Well, this one's definitely hard. Move that off the screen. No, don't scroll up. You're fired. Okay, that's good. Perfect. Keep it there. All right. Same strategy, eh? Like it's already solved for y. It doesn't get any easier than this, right? So we're just going to set this one equal to that one. Yeah? Let's go for it. So here's the first one. Okay. And now we're going to try to keep our x squared term positive. So I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to add x squared. And I'm going to subtract 6x. And I'm going to add 7. Okay, and I'm going to do that on this side. So I'm going to add x squared. So you get 3x squared. I'm going to subtract 6x. So what do we get? Negative 13x?
Yep.
All right. And then I'm going to add 7, so I get plus 10. And then $1 million question, the right-hand side is now equal to
0.
0, good. Nothing gets by you guys. Excellent. So if you got a greatest common factor, you could divide it out. We don't. So we're just going to do a decomposition. Okay, where our A term is 3 and our C term is 10. So we need to multiply to A times C. Is it negative 3? No.
Negative 10 and negative 3 because,
No, we're good. Yeah? Because we added 7 to get rid of the negative, so it's definitely 10.
Yeah.
Yeah? But we do have, it adds to negative 13.
Negative 3, negative 10.
Or I meant negative 10.
Okay, so I'm hearing negative 3 times negative 10.
Yeah,
Definitely multiplies to that and it adds up. Yeah. So that's good. So now decompose the middle term. So you got 3x squared. Doesn't really matter the order you write them in, but you know, I'm going to write the 3 first. It's going to be a little bit nicer because it's got a greatest common factor with that one. So there we go. This is a good place to just double check and make sure that these add up to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, then you're good. And then I like to jump straight to the answer from here. Now, you guys have gotten used to that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to be looking at the first two. And I'm thinking, okay, so my greatest common factor here is 3x. Okay, and then when I actually divide it out and go 3x squared divided by this, well, I'm left with x. And I go negative 3x divided by 3x, I get negative 1. Okay? Then you're looking at the next two terms, and you say, well, I need to get this. So the x term here is negative, so I'm going to pull out a negative something, and then what's the something?
Negative 10.
Negative 10. Right? So now I double check and I say, well, negative 10x divided by negative 10 is positive x, and then positive 10 divided by negative 10 is negative 1. It works. And you're done the factoring, and then you just got to use the zero product property. So we'll sort of just skip ahead. You get 3x equals 10, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So then divide it.
yeah, divide both sides by 3. So there's your x value. Over here, it's just x equal 1. Okay, and then you just got to go and take this one and plug it into either one. Doesn't matter which.
Just one.
Yeah, doesn't matter. They both look just as hard,
The
so
second one.
I really don't want to plug that one in, but
Yeah.
Let's do the right one.
on the video, can you see this board?
No.
No.
No?
Unless you want us to.
Okay. That's okay. I'm just gonna make myself some room here.
Because when I did mine,
Yeah, just make myself some room. So I'm gonna plug in 10 over 3. And you know you could, I'm gonna plug into this one. So whatever. I'll show my work on this one. You could use your calculator, it just depends like whether or not you have it. And it won't be that bad. What are we gonna get? We're gonna get
Negative 11.1 repeated.
negative, oh, you already got the answer? Okay. I was gonna actually do it with the fractions here. So I get 60 over 3. Now, common denominator is gonna be 9. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this one into something over 9. So I'm gonna multiply it by 3 over 3. Right, so I'm going to get 9 in the denominator. What's 6 times 3 is 18. So I'm going to get 180. And then this one, I'm going to change it to over 9. What's 7 times 9? 50, 63?
Yeah.
So 63 over 9, is that correct? Okay, seems okay. So negative 100 plus 180, I'm at 80 plus 63. Got 14, so you get 143 over 9, and that's how it's done. Hopefully I did it right.
Yeah, negative 31.4.
You want to double check? Does that work out? You should sort of force yourself to do those ones with the fractions, because technically you should know how to do them. Just for fun, just for giggles, just to make your brain big. Double check for us, Larry. I'll start the next one. So now I'm going to be
17 over
plugging
9.
in. Huh?
17 over 9. That's a negative 100 over 9.
Yeah. Yeah, we're good.
What
We
am
get
I?
80. Oh, it subtracts 63. Yep. We're not good then.
No, we're not.
So you get 17.
Yep.
Okay. So let's just go ahead and change that. Listen, these videos are going to be very raw. Mistakes and everything included. So, of course, though, we did that so that you would learn.
Of course.
Just to make sure you were awake. So when we plug in 1, let's see, we're going to get negative 1 plus 6 minus 7. So you get negative 1, you get negative 2. You guys agree? Okay, so then write it as a coordinate. And you're done. Another question. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I just broke my marker. Oh, next slide as soon as you're ready there. So when I upload this to YouTube, it like takes like my phone like an hour. Do you guys know how to do that? I can't get my iPhone. So I just switched to an iPhone. I can't get videos off my phone onto my computer.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Use a charging cord.
No, like I can hook it up. That'll works fine.
What computer do you have?
And iTunes opens and it's like, yeah, here's your phone. And it's like, and then I go into Windows Explorer and I like.
You have to
know,
import them.
Can you not drag them out?
Yeah, it won't let me just drag them over. It gives me an error every
What do you mean
time.
you can't let them drag them?
Granted, it was like a 4 gigabyte file. Is that why?
No, you have to import it. I do that all the time. You have to import it.
Or
so you
copy
have
and
to go
paste.
I tried. I looked on Google. I
You
did
have to go to
everything.
iPhotos and then import. Click all the photos
No,
in
but videos.
videos.
I actually don't have trouble
And this is
bringing
not
photos
allowed.
over. It won't let me bring videos over.
Videos.
So like now I edit them on my phone. I got like iMovie and then I upload it on the YouTube app on my phone. But I noticed that it takes longer versus just uploading it from the computer.
Well, like through data or through Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. And I actually pay for faster, so I actually have above average upload.
Oh, like the.
I do.
fiber
It's like I don't remember what it is.
Fiber
What is
optic?
No, it's like a step below.
I think it's easier if you just
Minor
use
optic?
photos.
I'll try that.
So you have speedy internet.
This is one of those identical questions. Just skip forward for a second and let's see what's next. And then go forward again and again.
Oh.
And one more time. Oh, and then there's a word problem. And then, that's the same.
That's it.
Oh, we're done. Good.
Just
Okay, no,
ignore
go
that
back.
one.
Go back. Go forward. Okay, let's just do this one. So we'll skip one. And we'll leave this one. Because they're all very similar.
That's the one we're on right now.
Yeah, okay. I mean, at this point, it's kind of like all questions are the same, and it's all practice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and try. What's our first step?
Also, you have to. It's a fraction question.
Do you want to boil it in first and
Yeah.
then do
Yeah.
it equal to each other, or?
Yeah, so the order you do that doesn't really matter, but yeah, you're right. Like, they're both y equals already, so just set them equal to each other, and yeah, you'll have to expand it out. So let's do that. So we'll set them equal to each other. There. So yeah, you got no choice. You gotta FOIL that out. So hopefully you're fast at it now. If you're not, keep studying. I don't know. Keep practicing, right? Football player doesn't get good at football by just sitting around and watching someone else do football, right?
Yeah, you never
Right?
know. You never know. You learn techniques.
Damn, that's a good analogy. Okay.
No,
Ooh, look what happens here. So everyone's good to this point.
Yeah.
So you start trying to, bring everything over to the same side, but when you get rid of the x squareds, or when you subtract it on this side, then it's gone on that side, right? And then you got to add 4x.
That's weird.
So that's gone, and you got 4x plus 4x, so you get 8x, right? This one canceled. Here you get positive 3, and then you're going to add 5, so you get plus 8. And what's it equal to?
0.
0, right? We
Yeah.
removed everything from that side, so this will be good. So from here, you can do lots of things, but I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So it's like that, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 8. So you get x equal negative 1. And then go back to whichever equation looks good to you. So I'm going to go and substitute back into that one. And I can show my work, why not? Ooh, it's negative 1, right?
Yeah.
And negative 1 plus 2 squared, subtract 1. So in here I get positive 1 squared, which is 1. Subtract 1, so you get 0. So this is an example where you just get one answer. Yeah, so if your x squared terms cancel, that's what's going to happen. You're just going to get one answer.
When are we gonna have our test back?
We already had it back.
Oh, yeah, soon. You just wrote it yesterday, right?
Jared did.
What?
Yeah, but Jared did.
It was like last.
No, it's not Monday.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it
but Jared has
last?
to.
Turn next one. Let's do this. No.
Sorry.
Yeah, where's my guy? Okay.
You
And just let's look at the next one. Okay.
Wait, do we just?
They're very similar, so which one do you want to try?
I just.
Actually, wait, go back. They're
Yeah,
this
they're
is
identical.
the
They're
same
identical.
question.
Oh, they're the same.
Go to the one where it's nice and big. There. Yeah. Okay, so let's do it.
I didn't realize they were the same one.
At this point, you should be able to try it out on your own, but
Oh, it looks so
because we're
messy.
making the video
Disgusting.
today, let's
Let's do it.
do it
Messy,
together.
disgusting.
So, nothing different here, just set them equal to each other. It's like making pasta. Do the same thing over and over again for like a day, and then you have enough pasta to feed your family. It's
Barely
the real Italian lifestyle.
Someone's like-
Oh, foil that one out. There's a negative on the outside, so maybe be careful when you foil it out. Don't forget the brackets. So you get x squared, and then you're going to get a plus 6x plus 9 plus 12. I didn't change anything on this side. So you'll distribute the negative into the brackets. You get negative. I'm going to be lazy. So I'm going to just distribute it in. I'm going to erase the brackets and distribute the negative in. So I'm going to get negative x squared, and then all the signs will just flip. Hopefully I didn't do anything wrong there. Everyone's good? Cool. Alright. And I can group my like terms, like negative 9 plus 12 is plus 3. So there's that. Just being a little lazy. And now I'm going to add x squared. I'm going to add 6x. I'm going to subtract 3. So on the right hand side, I'm going to have 0. And then I'm going to go 2x squared plus x squared, which gives me 3x squared. And then 12x plus 6x, so I get 18x. And then 18 subtract 3, 50. Nice. Yeah. So you're looking at a decomp, unless you notice anything special? There's something going on there.
Go out of 3.
3, 18, 15, all divisible by 3. Yeah. So you can divide everything by 3 on this side and everything by 3 on that side, and then you save yourself some hassle, because then you go 3 divided by 3 is 1, so you just get x squared. 18 divided by 3 is 6, so you just get 6x, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So you just went from a decomp to not a decomp, which is nice.
You want to do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if there's a greatest common factor, you can divide it out. Never divide out your variables, because then you're changing the question. Yeah, so that's the only thing you can't do. Okay, so this is just needs to multiply to 5, add to 6. So 1 and 5. So you're going to get x equal negative 1, x equal negative 5, and then, oh boy, they both look sort of bad. I think this one will be easier to plug into. So let's see, I'll plug in negative 1. When you have all those negatives and the squares, it doesn't hurt to maybe write it down. So you're going to get 2 squared, which is 4, and then throw the negative on there. So you get 8. So you got the answer, negative 1, 8. And then I'm going to plug in x equal negative 5. So you get y equals negative 5 plus 3 squared plus 12. So you get negative 2 in there. You square it, you get 4. And then the negatives on the outside, it stays there. So you get the same answer again. So you get negative 5 comma 8. And you're done. Just another day doing math.
Okay, so you want me to...
Yeah. You're almost done. You got a word problem? This is the same question again. So you can go to the next slide. Thank you very much. Next slide. There we go. So we saw these yesterday, the word problems. They're not really word problems, just wordy problems, right? Everyone found it?
Yeah.
Are you able to scroll down just a bit?
Oh, yeah, I can scroll that. So
Just a bit. Yeah, just so I can, just so it starts with the sum. Yeah, perfect. So the sum of the squares of 2 numbers is 13. The difference of the squares of the 2 numbers is negative 5. What could the 2 numbers be? Okay. So yeah, you could like think it out, but I'm not very good at that. Rather just set up an equation. Don't forget to define your variables. So you can say like let x and y B. Actually, let's use A and B.
Why?
I have a feeling we should use A and B so we don't have any confusions with Y and Y equals and stuff like that. So let's say let A and B be the numbers.
Oh, that's more confusing.
Oh, I think it's less. So, set up your first equation. It says the sum of the squares of the two numbers is 13. So the sum of the squares. So sum means add, and then squares means that you square each number. So it's the sum of the squares
It's 13.
equals 13. So that's your first equation. And your second equation, it says the difference of the squares. So that would be this, right? Difference
The difference is
of the squares is -5. There. Now you got a system of linear equations. Have fun. Oh, this one's brutal.
Ugly. Like
Yeah.
me.
Well, maybe not. So let's see. Like, this is the first one that we have where we actually have to manipulate them before we can go substitute in, right? Okay, so it doesn't matter. Pick a variable, solve for it. So, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and take this one. And I'm going to solve it for B. Actually, I'm going to solve it for B squared. Right? Because I'm looking at the other one. I'm like, well, I could solve it for B squared and just substitute that in. Okay? So maybe that's the tricky part of the question is if you start square rooting it, you're going to get into some trouble really fast. Like it's going to get maybe hard. Okay? So I'm going to add B squared to both sides. So I'm going to get A squared equals -5 plus B squared. And then I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I get A squared plus 5 equals B squared. And then just put a box around that because you'll be back. Alright, so now I have a way of going back to this one, and I'm like, well, I know what B squared is, it's this. And that enables me to solve equation 1 because now I just have one variable. Okay, so we're going to sub into 1. Sub it into 1. Okay, so I'll just kind of go like this, and I'll go A squared plus, use some brackets. So B squared is A squared plus 5, and it equals 13. So now you have 2A squared plus 5 equals 13. You're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Oh boy, this is fun. You get 8, divide by 2, you get 4. You guys sticking with it?
Yep.
Okay. There's something crazy is about to happen. I have a feeling.
Okay.
Because now, how do I solve for A?
You put a, what do you mean solve for?
How do I solve for A?
Always square it.
So I square root both sides. Now, when you square root both sides, you need to be careful because
Plus or minus.
plus or minus 2. Very good. So there's actually 2 answers here, which means that I plug it in here, I'm going to get 2 corresponding B values. And I think that's what the warning was about. It says you got more possibilities than you might first realize. Okay? So it's going to be a bunch of possibilities. So let's go A equals 2 and plug it into here. So if A is 2, then you're going to get 2 squared 4. Check out what happens now. So now you get 9 equals B squared. Well, how do you solve that? Because we got to square it again. What have you got to do? You got to square root both sides again, which means that you get another 2 answers. You get plus or minus 3 equals B. So when A is 2, the B value could be positive 3 or negative 3. So there's actually 2 answers here. So you got 2 comma 3 and 2 comma negative 3. And we still haven't done negative 2 yet for A. So there's going to be 4 answers here.
This is awful.
It is awful. You guys are such complainers. Let's go to McDonald's after this. I'll make it
I have
better.
a free cheeseburger coupon that I haven't used
Really?
in like a year.
That'd be nice if you gave it to me. That'd be great.
What's your-
I deserve it. There you go.
Wait, this is the same.
It's going to be the same, right? Because you're squaring it, so it's going to actually be exactly the same work, right? I'll show it just in case. Right? Like that's what you're doing, right? So you got negative 2 squared. We just get 4 plus 5. So you're back to this step. So it's exactly like that. So you get plus or minus 3 equals B when you square root both sides. Okay, so then you got, alright, you got -2 and +3, and you got -2 and -3, so you got 4 answers.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Alright, you want me to
I think that's about as bad as it's ever gonna be.
go to the next page?
Sure. Is there another one? Is this just not the same one again? It's the same one again.
Wasting paper.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure how that
We're
happened.
done.
Let's do the one that we skipped.
Right.
Oh yeah, do the one that we skipped.
No.
The same one as before.